Hey guys, I hope you guys are doing well and that you guys had a good weekend. I'm back at it again for another episode of season 2. So, have you guys ever got caught up in the moment with someone, met someone, and all of a sudden you feel all these sparks and you feel so like giddy around them and the butterflies and all these things, and you feel fireworks and essentially you kind of feel some type of way about it, thinking maybe this person is your person. You're not sure though yet. And maybe the idea comes in your mind like, oh, maybe this is my person, or I'm feeling a little type of way, like love towards this person, and you don't know them. And maybe you might feel that feeling of this could be the one or something like that. I'm here to tell you that some people experience those kinds of feelings when they call it love at first sight. So that's what we're talking about today. For me personally, I have never been in that situation, so I can't really say. I mean, I've gotten the feelings like, oh my God, butterflies, or you feel like this person could be someone maybe you can see yourself in the future with. But I can't say I've met someone and all of a sudden I'm like, this is the one, bitch. This is the one. Absolutely not. I'm not that type of person to begin with. But there's definitely situations that people think they have met the love of their life, or, they feel that feeling of love at first sight. In my eyes, love at first sight, I can't see it being a real thing because I see loving as something that takes time and it's a growing process for both people involved. So, with that being said, I feel like if you're feeling that type of way of love at first sight, I think it's more of like an infatuation or a lust towards the person. But love at first sight, is it really a thing? Does it really exist out there? My personal answer to this would be that it doesn't exist, just because that's who I am, that's what I believe, and personally because I've never experienced it. But I'm not knocking anyone's hustle. So anyone who's ever experienced love at first sight, please let me know how that was. I would love to hear about it because honestly, it's an experience that I'm sure some people say they felt or they know of or familiar with. Because in my mind, the courting process alone nowadays takes forever, let alone declaring love for someone. Forget about it. Like, no one's doing that. But I am going to call bullshit on people who probably met someone and they're 2 weeks in and they're like, oh my God, I'm in love. Because there's just no way. Literally, I don't think there is any way someone can have love at first sight. I can understand the intention of wanting to date someone when you first meet them and all of that. But you've gotten to know them. There's a process. You're getting to know them. You're doing things with them to see if this is your person. If this is someone you're actually going to spend the time with like that or see a future with. But not at first sight. I don't think so. When it comes to love at first sight, if it came out of a man's mouth, I want to say 10 out of the 10, it's because of the physicality first that probably caught that man's eye. Not like literal love. And I say this because I have guy friends who have literally seen a girl just walking by, and because she's gorgeous, they're like, I'm in love. And I'm like, okay, let's not be dramatic here. But I do think it's a physicality thing. One thing's for sure though, when it comes to your looks, I always say you can have the looks, look like a goddess, look like a male god, but if your personality is shit, bro, the whole thing goes out the window. Your personality ain't shit, you're not shit, doesn't matter how good you look. So you got to keep that in mind anytime you think you're out here looking like a 10 out of 10 snack. Now, if you have the personality and the looks, you're dangerous because you literally have the combination that a lot of people might not have. So back to what I was saying about this love at first sight thing. I know there's a lot of like new TV and reality shows that come out and do this whole love at first sight or getting married at first sight. Um, but let's call it like it is. A lot of it is bullshit. Reality TV is bullshit. It's all acted out, it's all planned out. Nothing is really reality in the sense. And I think with these shows, you take a big risk on trying to find your person. Plus, it's such a hard decision on your life with those shows because the hardest part coming out of it after they've given you this person is trying to stay together. And love at first sight, I don't think is something that will hold something together like that. In fact, I read some research from like psychologists who say that love at first sight is not a real thing because there's a process, which is the loving process, which takes time and effort. So, therefore, like I said before, I don't think it's an actual thing. Because if I have to be honest with you guys, love is not something that comes quick at all by any means. It literally takes a lot of time. Some people aren't saying I love you after months in, and that's after getting to know someone very well. I want to say around the 6-month mark. I always say 6 months is you get to really know the person or kind of start seeing where they're going, their direction, their personality. Around the 1 year mark, things are, like you really got to know them. 2 years is like the make it or break it type of mark. So that's how I see every relationship, honestly. As I was reading the research about this love at first sight business, some psychologists said when they did the study, men and women actually said that they experienced it, but it was just an initial attraction to the other person that they experienced. And listen, the only love at first sight this girl has ever felt is with an animal. I see them, I love them immediately. But for a human or another person, no, that shit actually takes time for me. There was a poll done back a few years ago with elite singles, and they said about 61% of women and 72% of men actually think that love at first sight is real. And guys, that's a lot of people. I'm dumbfounded. When I read that, I was just like, first of all, we live in a hookup culture. How the hell are people actually out here thinking that love at first sight is a real thing? If that's the case, no one's ever gonna match up because they're not getting this initial spark or fireworks or like, oh my God, all of a sudden I saw this person and everything stops. It's just me and that person. You're never gonna find the person. I hate to break it to you. When I think of how other people think about this topic right here of love at first sight, I wonder what's going on through their minds. For me, like I have asked a few friends how they feel about it, and a lot of them say that it's not love, it's more like a lust. So we can call it lust at first sight then. As I told you guys before, I don't see love at first sight as the real deal at all. Me personally, I think there's just too many unknowns with this love at first sight. Unknowns in the way, like, you don't know this person, you don't know their personality traits, you don't know the kind of music they even like, you don't know their kind of food, do you know they're a picky eater or not? Like, there's so many unknowns to this shit that I don't think you can just possibly love someone immediately upon seeing them. Now, I'm gonna put a halt to my whole it's not a thing, because is it possible to feel love at first sight? Yes. Even researchers say yes, you can feel it. And I believe that you can actually like feel something like similar to that, but I can't say that it is that. When I sit here and like I talk to folks that have been married for 40 years or more, they usually say the cutest shit. But realistically, in 2022, that's not happening with the hookup culture that we have nowadays. Because everyone just seems to want a good time instead of a good thing, just the dating culture in general. But like I was saying before, I have patients that I see and they're elderly. And when I ask them and they come together as a couple, they're the cutest things. And then I ask them how long they've been together, how did they know? And they always just tell me they just knew that they had found their person and that person was the one. And honestly, I think that's the cutest shit ever. But then realistically, this is a whole different decade. Things were so different back in the day compared to now that I can see why they said that. But in today's culture, I can't see anybody saying that shit now. At the end of the day, I do think that people do confuse feelings for love at first sight. And to be honest, I just think it's a hope for them to think it is that when in reality it's not. Because there are people, unfortunately, that really have an urge to meet their person and, move on to the next levels of life, marriage or engagement, marriage, kids, family, house, all that. And I'm sure some of the feelings that I would assume would be like you feel familiar with this person or you feel like you've known this person for a while. So I can see why someone would confuse those feelings with love at first sight. Think about the longevity of love at first sight, and I don't think it's enough, to be honest. I think the odds are actually against it long term wise in regards to marriage. Because don't get me wrong, I am not married nor I have a man, but for marriage to last, it will go through a multitude of changes from physical to sexual, and I'm sure it's due to so many reasons like health issues, kids, careers that cause ups and downs, along with long stretch periods of no sex or sex once in a while during marriage. And that's something that you and your partner have to literally mend together and get it together, still love one another through the thick and thin. That's why you take those vows. And I'm sure people who have experienced love at first sight, if you have experienced it, I'm sure it's a great feeling, especially if it ends up working out in the end, especially through all the vigorous shit that life throws at you guys. So that's always a plus. And if you've ever been in love at first sight, you gotta let me know because I need to know, is this fucking real or what? Because I have not experienced that. My final thoughts on this topic is that it's not this love that will actually hold up for the long haul, like in a marriage or anything like that. Because to be honest, what really matters is everything that happens in your relationship after meeting the first time and how you guys are staying together and everything you have to go through in order to still stay together at the end of it. Of course, you build memories with this person and share experiences with them, and that's the kind of shit that I feel is for the long haul. Along with what I mentioned, I feel like memories, creating memories, sharing experiences, those are the things that really make shit last a lifetime because it's you and that person creating these new things together. But this is after getting to know one another. It's definitely not something that happens at first sight. Anyways, guys, that's all I have on this topic. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.